What's up, YouTube? This is Project Porsche, episode 4, part 2. Sometimes when you get an old car, it can take a while just to figure out what's wrong with it. Getting that car on the road is really the only way to diagnose the problem. Masked by a malfunctioning voltage regulator that worked when it wanted to, the alternator seemed like it was working. Now I know it was only putting out about 8 volts. It took me a while to get to pulling the alternator out, but when I did, I found out it was missing its fan. That's probably why the voltage regulator went out. Since I was buying a new one anyway, why not get a bigger one? Porsche upgraded from the 90 amp version to a larger 115 amp version in later model 944s. And they also added cold air intakes and ductwork to keep them cool. According to the web, it's possible to run the larger alternator with some straightforward mods, and the prices of the two alternators are almost the same. So if you find yourself a lower aluminum bracket from a later 944, you're in business. For now, I decided to stay with the stock size, so I purchased a remanufactured 90 amp alternator. Later on, I can order a high amp version built inside a stock size case, and I'll already have the cooling capacity in place because I'm going to modify and add the turbo ductwork to my 924S. Go on eBay and you'll find a number of these cones for sale for pretty cheap. So I ordered a cone and another duct just for the heck of it. Before I ordered the plastic cone from eBay, I studied the two alternators side by side in pictures. It looked like the cone would physically mount to the smaller alternator. It looked like the bolts were in roughly the same place, but they actually aren't. That 115 amp alternator is a little bit bigger in every direction, and so even those 4 bolts are spread out further than on the smaller alternator. So I had to modify the cone now to fit onto the bolt pattern of my smaller alternator. But when I'm done, it works great. And when I'm done, the thing sucks like a vacuum cleaner. I just took my time and I started with a drill bit, then later I moved to the Dremel and removed the metal inserts that those studs feed through. After I moved those, things slipped right on there. You could call it good right there. Get a couple of low profile nuts and you're in business. I decided to take it a little further, and you get to see that later. My remanufactured alternator came with this Bakelite feeling insulator. I decided I wanted to use it, but it wouldn't fit underneath my new plastic cone, and I didn't want to bend or reshape the alternator wiring to make it fit, so I decided to just modify this plastic piece. I started off by carving out the side where the wires needed to exit. The stock alternator just had some like washer type insulators underneath the cable leads there, but I thought that this big insulator was nicer, so I decided to use this. After I got the insulator to the right shape, I started to mock up the cone inside the car. That slot in the top of the cone is where the wires are supposed to pass through, but I wanted mine to go through the side where they would, as if they wouldn't have had to been moved. So I drilled this hole in my cone, and later I find a rubber gasket to seal the space in between the wiring and the cone itself. So I decided to see if I could make this ductwork work. It was pretty clear that it's not designed for a 924S. So I decided to use something else, and luckily I found some ductwork that was the perfect size.
It's perfect!
I got this dash from a junkyard, and the plan is to recover it and put the fresh recovered one in the Porsche. But for now I'm not using it, and I can transfer my ductwork from the dash that's in my car to this one when I get there. So I scavenged some heater tubing, and it looks like it's gonna work great. Thanks for checking out my project Porsche, guys. Next time I'll continue work on the alternator duct and move on to other things too. If you like the show, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more Project Porsche. See you next time.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.